My wife gave me an STD while I was being faithful. My best friend gave it to her. My daughter knew for 8 months. That's how the story ends. But let me tell you how it begins. It starts on a Tuesday evening in September, in the living room of a house that looks perfect from the outside. Colonial style, white picket fence, 2 cars in the driveway. Inside, Thomas Barrett sits across from his wife of almost 20 years, and she's about to ask him for something that will change everything. Catherine Barrett is 43 years old, beautiful in that careful way that takes work. New highlights in her hair, designer workout clothes even though she hasn't been to the gym. A perfume Thomas doesn't recognize. Something expensive, floral, too young for her. She's been seeing a marriage counselor, alone, without him. I need to talk to you about something, Catherine says, and her voice has that practiced quality, like she's rehearsed this. Something the therapist and I have been discussing. Thomas looks up from the stack of essays he's grading. He teaches American literature at the local high school, The Great Gatsby, this semester. All those doomed romantics chasing illusions. He's 45, graying at the temples, the kind of man who still wears his wedding ring with pride. He touches it now, unconsciously, as his wife speaks. The therapist says we've lost ourselves in the roles of parent and spouse, Catherine continues. There's a pamphlet on the coffee table between them. Rekindling Connection, a guide to marital growth. We need to rediscover our individual identities. Upstairs, their 11-year-old daughter Grace is doing homework. Their 16-year-old daughter Emma walks through the living room, senses the tension like teenagers do, and retreats back upstairs. Thomas watches her go. What are you saying, Kate? Catherine leans forward. She's thought about this. She's got talking points. I'm saying we should consider opening our marriage. Not permanently, just exploratory. A chance to find ourselves again before we lose each other completely. The words hang in the air like smoke. Open marriage. Find ourselves. Thomas has been married to this woman for 19 years and 7 months. They've built a life. 2 daughters, a mortgage, Saturday morning pancakes and Sunday church, and now she's asking for permission to sleep with other people. What would Emma think? The words come out before he can stop them. Emma's almost an adult, Catherine says, too quickly. She'd understand. She's finding herself too. There it is, that phrase. Finding herself. Like identity is something you misplace, something you have to search for in someone else's bed. I don't know, Kate, this feels wrong. Catherine's eyes flash. Is wanting to feel alive again wrong? Is wanting passion wrong? Thomas looks at his wife, really looks at her. She's scrolling through her phone now, smiling at something he can't see, not looking at him anymore. Already gone in some way he doesn't understand yet. He thinks about his daughters, about what divorce would do to them, about Grace, who still believes in fairy tales and happy endings, about Emma, who's been quieter lately, more withdrawn, about keeping the family together. Okay, he hears himself say, if that's what you need. Catherine looks up, surprised he agreed so easily. Then she smiles. Thank you for understanding. The therapist said you might resist initially. I'm glad you're evolved enough to see this as growth. Thomas watches his wife stand up, kiss him on the forehead like he's a child, and head upstairs. Her phone buzzes. She glances at it, smiles again, types something back. He catches a glimpse of the screen, just a flash, but not enough to see who she's texting. He sits there in the living room, holding his wedding ring between his fingers, and he doesn't know it yet, but he's just agreed to participate in a lie that's already 2 years old. If you've ever agreed to something that felt wrong just to keep the peace, just to keep your family together, you'll understand what Thomas does next. He goes to bed. He doesn't ask questions. He tells himself this is about saving his marriage. What he doesn't know is that his marriage died 2 years ago, and nobody told him. 8 months earlier, March. Emma Barrett is 16 years old, and she's about to have the worst moment of her young life. It's a Saturday morning. Her mother is at the gym. Those air quotes will make sense later. Her father is coaching Grace's soccer team. Emma is alone in the house looking for her phone charger, and she makes the mistake of checking the kitchen counter where her mother left her phone. Catherine's phone is unlocked. Face recognition, probably. Emma doesn't mean to look, but there's a text notification on the screen, and she sees a name that makes her stomach drop. Brandon. Not just Brandon, Uncle Brandon, her godfather, her father's best friend since college, the man who held her when she was baptized, the man who taught her to ride a bike, the man who's been at every birthday, every Christmas, every major moment of her entire life. Emma picks up the phone. The text says, "Can't wait to see you tonight. Miss you already." Emma's hands start shaking. She scrolls up. There are hundreds of messages, thousands, going back months, years, maybe. "Last night was incredible. Your husband called. I told him I was working late." The irony. "I love you." 3 words. "I love you," from Uncle Brandon to her mother. Emma feels like she's going to be sick. She keeps scrolling, hoping she's misunderstanding, hoping there's some explanation. But the messages are explicit, detailed. There's no room for misinterpretation. Her mother is having an affair with her father's best friend, with her godfather. Emma drops the phone on the counter. She runs to the bathroom and throws up. When she comes back, shaking, wiping her mouth, she makes a decision that will haunt her for the next 8 months. She picks up her own phone and takes pictures, screenshots, every message she can find. She doesn't know why. She just knows she needs evidence, proof that she's not crazy, proof that this is real. Then she goes to her mother's purse. She doesn't know what she's looking for until she finds it. A hotel key card. The Riverside Inn, room 237. There's a date written on the back in her mother's handwriting. 2 days ago, Thursday night, the night her mother said she was at book club. Emma photographs the key card too. Then she goes to her room, closes the door, and pulls out a journal she got for Christmas. Purple leather cover. She's never written in it before. But she starts now. March 14th. I found Mom's phone. She's cheating with Uncle Brandon. I took pictures of everything. I don't know what to do. If I tell Dad, it will destroy him. Grace will find out. Grace still believes in Santa Claus and happy families. How do I take that away from her? Emma closes the journal. Her hands are shaking. She looks at a photo on her wall. Her whole family at Grace's baptism. Uncle Brandon is holding baby Grace, grinning at the camera. Her father's arm is around Brandon's shoulder. Brothers. That's what her father always called him. My brother. Emma starts to cry, silent, shaking sobs that feel like they're tearing her apart from the inside. That night, when her mother comes home from the gym, Emma can barely look at her. Catherine asks if she's feeling okay. Emma says she has a headache. She goes to her room and writes in her journal again. I'm a coward. I should tell Dad. But I can't. I can't be the one who breaks our family. What Emma doesn't know yet is that keeping this secret will break her instead. She'll start having panic attacks at school. Her grades will drop. She'll stop eating properly. She'll lie awake at night, listening to her parents argue through the walls, knowing things her father doesn't know. She'll become the keeper of a secret that slowly poisons her. And she'll do it all to protect her little sister's innocence. Because that's what children do when their parents fail them. Present day, late September. Thomas Barrett sits across from his best friend at Sullivan's Sports Bar, their usual spot. They've been coming here for 20 years. Every other Thursday. It's their tradition. 2 beers, whatever game is on, catching up on life. Brandon Mitchell is 44 years old, successful, married to Sarah for 18 years, 2 kids. He's the kind of guy everyone likes. Charismatic, funny. Thomas's best man at his wedding, Grace's godfather, the brother Thomas never had. So, Brandon says, spinning his beer glass between his hands, how are things with you and Kate? Thomas sighs. Honestly, weird. She proposed this open marriage thing, said she needs to find herself. Brandon takes a long drink. His eyes don't meet Thomas's. Open marriage, huh? That's modern. Yeah, her therapist's idea, apparently. Thomas runs his hand through his hair. I don't know, man. It feels wrong, but she made it sound like refusing would be selfish, like I'd be holding her back. And did you agree, I mean? I did, for the girls. I don't want them growing up in a broken home. Brandon checks his phone, a quick glance, but Thomas notices. That's big of you, Tommy. I guess. Thomas looks at his friend. What about you and Sarah? You guys doing okay? You seem distracted lately. Yeah, just work stress, you know. Brandon checks his phone again, types something quickly. Pharmaceutical sales is a grind. You'd tell me if something was wrong, right? I mean, you're my brother. We tell each other everything. There's a pause, a long one. Brandon finally looks at Thomas, and for just a second there's something in his eyes. Guilt, maybe, or fear. Then it's gone. Of course, Tommy. Always. The bartender, a woman named Rita, who's worked here for a decade, brings them another round. She glances at Brandon's phone on the bar. The screen is lit up with a new message. She can see what Thomas can't. The text says, "He's with you? Good, I'm at the hotel." Rita catches Brandon's eye. He grabs the phone quickly, shoves it in his pocket. She walks away, shaking her head. She's seen this before. Men lying to their best friends. She's seen it 100 times. Thomas is still talking. I just feel like I'm losing her, you know, like she's already gone somewhere I can't follow, and I don't know how to get her back. Brandon nods sympathetically. Hey man, if she needs space to figure things out, maybe that's healthy. Some couples need that freedom to appreciate what they have. He's still touching his beer, avoiding eye contact. His phone buzzes again in his pocket. He doesn't check it this time. You think I did the right thing, agreeing to this? I think you're doing what you think is best for your family. That's all any of us can do. Brandon pulls out his wallet to pay for his half. As he does, a hotel keycard falls onto the bar, the Riverside Inn. He snatches it up quickly, too quickly. Thomas doesn't notice. He's looking at his own phone now. A text from Catherine. Out with the girls tonight. Don't wait up. Brandon sees the text too. He finishes his beer in one long gulp. I gotta run, Tommy. Sarah's waiting. He stands up, puts a hand on Thomas's shoulder. Listen, you're doing the right thing. Trust me. Everything's gonna work out. Thomas watches his best friend leave. Brandon Mitchell. The man he trusts more than anyone in the world except his wife. The man who's been sleeping with his wife for 2 years. But Thomas doesn't know that yet. He sits at the bar, nursing his beer, wondering why he feels so alone when his best friend just told him everything's going to work out. Rita, the bartender, comes over, starts wiping down the bar. She looks at Thomas for a long moment, like she wants to say something. Then she just shakes her head and walks away. Some truths are too ugly to speak out loud, even when they need to be said. 2 weeks later, October, Thomas Barrett sits in Dr. Patricia Winter's office, waiting for test results he never thought he'd need. He's been Dr. Winter's patient for 12 years. She delivered both his daughters. She knows his family. This should be routine. It's not routine. Thomas, Dr. Winter says, her voice careful, professional. Your test came back positive for chlamydia. The words don't make sense at first. Thomas just stares at her. That's not possible. I've been faithful. I've only been with Catherine. I know. Dr. Winters pulls up his file on her computer. Your last physical was 6 months ago. You were clear then. This is a recent infection. Thomas feels like the room is tilting. But the open marriage thing, we just agreed to it 2 months ago. And I haven't been with anyone. I couldn't. I tried to go on one date and I felt so guilty I came straight home. Dr. Winters pauses. She looks at him with something that might be pity. Thomas, I need you to understand something about chlamydia. It doesn't just appear. Someone brought it into your marriage, And if you've been monogamous, the implication hangs in the air. Catherine, Thomas says, and his voice sounds strange, distant. She had her annual exam. Did she... Dr. Winters types something, pulls up another file. Her face goes carefully neutral. Your wife tested positive 2 weeks ago, September 28th. She was supposed to inform all sexual partners immediately and abstain from contact until treatment was complete. 2 weeks ago, Thomas thinks back. 2 weeks ago, Catherine told him the open marriage wasn't working for her. She wanted to reconnect. Just the two of them. She'd been so loving, so attentive. They'd had sex 3 times that week. Unprotected, trying to fix what was broken. She knew she was infected, and she didn't tell him. She exposed him anyway. I'm required to report this to the health department, Dr. Winters continues. And Thomas, you may want to document this for legal purposes. Thomas sits there, his hands shaking. How long has she had it? Chlamydia can be asymptomatic for months or years, but based on when she tested positive and when you became infected, I'd say she's had it for a while, long enough to know she should get tested, long enough to have had multiple partners, or at least one consistent partner over time. The room is spinning now. Thomas grips the armrests of the chair. No late-night hookups? Dr. Winters asks gently. No unprotected encounters outside your marriage? No. No anonymous partners you might have met through dating apps? No. Then someone brought this into your marriage, and that person has been having unprotected sex with your wife for long enough to transmit an infection. This isn't a one-time mistake, Thomas. This is a pattern. Thomas takes the prescription she hands him. Antibiotics, a week's course, instructions to abstain from sexual contact, to contact any partners from the last 6 months. But there are no other partners, just Catherine, just his wife. His wife who proposed an open marriage 6 months after starting an affair. His wife who used therapeutic language to make him feel guilty for having boundaries. His wife who knowingly gave him an STD while he was being faithful. Thomas leaves the doctor's office. He sits in his car in the parking lot. The lab results are in his hand. Official letterhead. Clinical language. Black and white proof that his marriage is a lie. He pulls out his phone. Dials Catherine's number. It goes straight to voicemail. He tries again. Voicemail again. He texts, "Where are you?" She responds 5 minutes later. "Work meeting. What's up?" Work meeting. Or so she says. Thomas looks at the date on the test results, September 28th. The day she tested positive, the day she was supposed to tell him, the day she came home and suggested they reconnect physically. He starts the car. He doesn't know where he's going. He just drives. Through neighborhoods that look perfect from the outside, colonial houses with white picket fences and 2 cars in driveways, all those families that look whole. His phone rings, unknown number. He answers anyway. "Mr. Barrett, this is the county health department. We need to discuss your recent STD test and contact tracing." Thomas pulls over, puts the car in park. And for the first time in his adult life, he lets himself imagine what his marriage really is. Not a partnership, not a love story, not even a mistake, just a lie. One that's been going on far longer than 6 months. One that's been carefully hidden behind therapy appointments and gym memberships and finding herself. And somewhere in his house, his 16-year-old daughter has known the truth for 8 months, has been carrying the weight of it alone, has been protecting him and her sister while destroying herself in the process. But Thomas doesn't know that part yet. He will, though, soon. That night, Thomas doesn't go home right away. He drives to his school, lets himself into his classroom with the key he's had for 15 years. The building is empty, silent. Just him and rows of desks and the books that have always made sense when nothing else did. He sits at his desk and pulls out the medical records, reading them again, as if the words might change, as if clinical language might somehow soften the betrayal. Patient Catherine M. Barrett. Test date, September 28th, 2024. Result, positive for chlamydia trachomatis. Patient advised to notify all sexual partners within last 6 months and abstain from sexual contact until treatment complete. Beneath it, Dr. Winters had written a note by hand. Patient reports she will inform spouse. Emphasized importance of immediate disclosure. Catherine never told him. She came home that night, made dinner, asked about his day, then suggested they reconnect physically. 3 times that week, unprotected, knowing. Thomas opens his laptop. He's not sure what he's looking for at first. Then he logs into their joint bank account, the one they use for household expenses, the one Catherine has always managed because she's better with money. He starts scrolling through credit card statements, going back months, looking for patterns. There, Victoria's Secret, $247. He never saw any new lingerie. Morton's Steakhouse, $183. She said she'd skipped lunch that day. The Riverside Inn, $189. A Thursday in July. Grace had a soccer game that night. Thomas coached. Catherine said she was having dinner with girlfriends. He clicks on the hotel charge, sees the date, scrolls back through his phone to that day. He'd sent Catherine a photo, Grace scoring her first goal. Catherine had texted back a heart emoji and so proud, celebrating with the girls. She wasn't with the girls. She was at the Riverside Inn, room charge $189. One night, Thomas keeps scrolling. Same hotel, $189. Every Thursday for the last 8 months, sometimes twice a month, always Thursdays, always while he was coaching Grace's soccer team. He opens a spreadsheet, starts documenting date, amount, location. The teacher in him needs to see the pattern. The husband in him needs to understand the scope. February, March, April, May, June, July, August, September. 8 months of Thursday night hotel charges. But then he scrolls further back, and his blood goes cold. November of last year, same hotel, same amount, same day of the week. He keeps going. October, September, August. The hotel charges go back 2 years, maybe more. He stops scrolling. His hands are shaking too much to continue. The open marriage was 6 months ago, April. Catherine proposed it in April, but she'd been going to the Riverside Inn for 2 years. The open marriage wasn't about exploration. It wasn't about finding herself. It was about making her 2-year affair retroactively acceptable. It was about making him complicit in his own betrayal. Thomas closes his laptop. He sits in his empty classroom, surrounded by copies of The Great Gatsby, all those characters chasing dreams that were dead before the story even started. He pulls out a notebook, the kind he uses for lesson plans, and he starts writing, documenting everything, dates, amounts, timeline, evidence. He doesn't know it yet, but he's building a case. What he also doesn't know is that just outside his classroom door, Emma Barrett stands in the hallway. She'd seen her father's car in the parking lot, came to check on him. Now she watches through the small window in the door as her father sits alone, writing in a notebook, his shoulders shaking. She wants to go in, wants to tell him she knows, that she's known for 8 months, that she's so sorry she didn't tell him sooner, but she can't. Not yet. So she turns around and walks back to her car, pulls out her own journal, and writes, October 12th. Dad knows something. I can tell. He's quieter, sadder. If he confronts Mom, I need to be ready. I need to tell him I knew. I need to help him. Grace needs at least one of us to be strong. Emma closes her journal, and for the first time in 8 months, she feels something other than crushing guilt. She feels ready. 3 days later, Thomas's phone rings during his lunch break. Unknown number, local area code. He answers. Thomas Barrett? Speaking. This is Sarah Mitchell, Brandon's wife. Her voice is shaking. I'm sorry to call you out of the blue, but I need to ask you something. Thomas sits up straighter. Sarah, is everything okay? Is Brandon... Have you noticed anything strange about Catherine lately? The question hangs there, Thomas's heart starts pounding. Why are you asking? Sarah takes a shaky breath. Because I've noticed things about Brandon, and I'm afraid that... She stops. Starts again. Thomas, I found hotel key cards in Brandon's gym bag from the Riverside Inn. Multiple cards, going back years. Thomas feels like he's been punched. What day of the week? Thursdays. Always Thursdays. Sarah's voice breaks. I checked our credit card statements. He's been charging business lunches to his company card on Thursday afternoons. But the charges are from that hotel's restaurant, not the places he told me. I called his office. He hasn't had Thursday client meetings in over a year. Thomas pulls up his own spreadsheet. Catherine has charges from the same hotel, same days. Oh God! Sarah is crying now. Oh God! Thomas, it's them! It's been them this whole time. How long have you suspected? Months, maybe longer. I kept telling myself I was paranoid, but then I found the hotel cards. And I hired someone, a private investigator. I got the report yesterday. She pauses. Thomas, I have photos. Brandon's car parked at the Riverside Inn. 17 different dates. And in 3 of those photos, there's a woman getting into his car afterward. I couldn't see her face clearly, but the investigator got the license plate. Catherine's car. Yes. Sarah's voice is barely a whisper. I matched the dates to your wife's credit card charges. Every single one lines up. Thursday nights. The nights Brandon said he had late client dinners. The nights Catherine said she was... What did she tell you? Girls' night, book club, dinner with coworkers. Thomas laughs, but it's a hollow sound. She called them self-care nights. Said she needed space to find herself. Brandon told me he was stressed. Said he needed the gym to decompress. Thursday nights at the gym, he said, every week, for 2 years. Thomas closes his eyes. Brandon Mitchell, his best friend since college, the man who stood next to him at his wedding and promised to support their marriage. The man who held Grace at her baptism and promised to guide her spiritual life. The man Thomas called when his father died. The man he trusted with everything. Sarah, I need you to send me everything you have. I will, but Thomas... Sarah's voice hardens. What are we going to do? I don't know yet, but I'm documenting everything. Medical records, financial records, timeline. I'm building evidence. Medical records. Thomas closes his eyes. Catherine gave me chlamydia. She tested positive 2 weeks before I did. Never told me. We had unprotected sex after her diagnosis. Jesus Christ. Sarah is quiet for a long moment. Brandon came home 3 weeks ago and said he needed an STD test. Said his doctor recommended it as routine screening. I thought it was strange. Our doctor never suggests that. Did he test positive? I don't know. He said everything came back clear. But now I'm wondering if he lied about that too. Thomas's phone buzzes. Incoming texts, screenshots, dozens of them. Photos of Brandon's car at the hotel. Credit card statements highlighted. Call logs showing thousands of calls between Brandon's number and Catherine's. Text messages recovered from phone records. Not the content, but the frequency. 15 to 20 texts per day, every single day for 2 years. I'm sending you everything, Sarah says. Phone records, photos, financial documents, everything my investigator found. Use it however you need to. Thomas looks at his phone as the evidence piles up. Screenshot after screenshot, proof after proof. The paper trail of a systematic long-term betrayal. Sarah, what do you want to do? I want a divorce. I want my kids to know the truth when they're old enough to understand. And I want Brandon to face consequences. Real ones. Her voice is steel now. What about you? I want the same thing, but first I need to confront him. I need to hear him try to explain this. Be careful, Thomas. Men like this, men who can lie to their best friend for 2 years, they're capable of anything. After Sarah hangs up, Thomas sits in his classroom staring at his phone. The evidence is overwhelming, undeniable, but he needs to hear it. needs to look Brandon in the eye and hear him admit what he's done. He texts Brandon, "Can you meet me tonight? After work, parking lot of your office. We need to talk." Brandon responds immediately, "Everything okay, Tommy?" Thomas stares at that nickname. Tommy, only Brandon calls him that, has called him that since they were 18 years old, freshman roommates at State College, staying up late talking about their dreams and their futures and the families they'd build someday. He types back, "Just need to talk. 7 p.m.? See you then, brother." Brother. The word makes Thomas want to throw his phone across the room. Thomas arrives at Brandon's office building at 6:45 p.m., parks in a visible spot near the security cameras. He's thought about this carefully. Public place, cameras, witnesses nearby. He doesn't trust himself to stay calm, and he doesn't trust Brandon to tell the truth unless there's accountability. Brandon pulls up at 7:03, gets out of his car, and for a moment, he looks like the friend Thomas has always known. Easy smile, confident stride, the kind of guy who makes everyone feel like they're the most important person in the room. "Hey, Tommy, what's going on?" Thomas doesn't get out of his car. He opens the passenger door. "Get in." Something in his voice makes Brandon hesitate, but he gets in. Thomas hands him a manila folder. "Open it." Brandon opens the folder. Inside are printouts, hotel receipts, credit card statements, photos of his car at the Riverside Inn, text message logs, medical records showing Catherine's STD test results, and Thomas's subsequent infection. Brandon goes pale. "Tommy, listen. 2 years. Thomas's voice is cold, controlled. "You've been sleeping with my wife for 2 years. You held my daughter at her baptism. You were at our wedding. You stood next to me and promised to support our marriage. And you've been fucking my wife in a hotel room every Thursday for 2 years. It wasn't supposed to happen." "Don't." Thomas's hand slams against the dashboard. "Don't you dare say it wasn't supposed to happen. It happened every Thursday for 2 years. That's not an accident. That's a choice. Over and over and over again. She came to me. She was lonely. So it's her fault?" No, I'm not saying that. I'm saying..." Brandon runs his hands through his hair. "Jesus, Tommy, I never meant to hurt you." "My name is Thomas. You lost the right to call me Tommy the first time you put your hands on my wife." Brandon flinches. "How did you find out?" "Does it matter?" "Sarah, she hired someone, didn't she?" Brandon's voice rises. "That bitch has been spying on me." "Don't." Thomas turns to look at him. Really look at him. "Don't talk about your wife that way. You destroyed your marriage. You destroyed mine. You don't get to be angry about getting caught." "What are you going to do?" "I'm going to protect my daughters, something you clearly never cared about doing. I love those girls. You're not their godfather anymore." Thomas's voice is flat, final. "You're not welcome in my home. You're not welcome around my children. You're nothing to my family." Thomas, please, you can't tell everyone. My kids..." "Your kids?" "Grace calls you Uncle Brandon. Emma calls you Uncle Brandon. They trusted you. Grace prayed for you at bedtime. You're her godfather. You were supposed to protect her, guide her, be an example of integrity. And instead, you were fucking her mother in a hotel room while I coached her soccer games." Brandon is crying now, real tears. But Thomas feels nothing. No sympathy, no shared grief, just cold, crystalline clarity. "You gave Catherine an STD. She gave it to me. Did you even get tested? Or did you just let her spread it to me without warning her?" "I got tested. I'm clean now. I took antibiotics." "When?" "September, early September." "And you didn't tell her to tell me?" Brandon looks away. "I figured she would." "She didn't. She came home and suggested we have unprotected sex for a week while she was infected, while she knew." Thomas opens the car door. "Get out." "Please, Tommy, don't do this at the anniversary party. Not in front of everyone." Thomas freezes, turns slowly. How do you know about the anniversary party? Brandon's face goes white. He realizes his mistake. Catherine told you about the anniversary party. Thomas's voice is deadly quiet. My wife told her affair partner about our 20th anniversary celebration. Were you planning to be there? Were you going to stand in my house, drink my beer, smile at my face, and then go fuck my wife in a hotel room afterward? Get out of my car. Thomas? Get out! Brandon scrambles out. Thomas reaches over, grabs the manila folder from his lap. Oh, and Brandon? Sarah has copies of everything in this folder. So do I. So does my lawyer. If you or Catherine try anything, custody fight, asset hiding, defamation, all of this goes public. Every hotel receipt, every text message log, every medical record, I'll make sure everyone knows exactly what you did. Your clients, your boss, your church, your kids' school, everyone. Brandon stands in the parking lot, shaking. You wouldn't do that. You're not that kind of person. Thomas looks at him through the window. This man he's known for 23 years. This man he loved like a brother. This stranger. You're right. I wasn't that kind of person, but you and Catherine made me this way. So, congratulations. You broke something you can't fix. Thomas drives away. In his rearview mirror, he sees Brandon Mitchell standing alone in an empty parking lot, holding his head in his hands. And Thomas feels nothing. Not satisfaction, not vindication, just a hollow space where 23 years of friendship used to be. He drives for a while. No destination, just driving. Eventually, he finds himself pulling into his own driveway, his house, the place that used to feel like home. He sits in the car for a long time before he goes inside. When he finally does, Emma is sitting at the kitchen table doing homework. She looks up at him, really looks at him, and Thomas sees something in her eyes, understanding maybe, recognition. Dad, are you okay? Thomas opens his mouth to lie, to say he's fine, to protect her the way parents are supposed to protect their children. But Emma stands up, walks over to him, and pulls a purple leather journal from her backpack. Dad, she says quietly, I need to show you something. Thomas Barrett sits at his kitchen table at 9:47 p.m. on a Tuesday in October, reading his daughter's diary, and his entire world is ending. Emma is at her friend's house for the night, a sleepover she'd planned weeks ago. Grace is asleep upstairs, dreaming whatever dreams 11-year-olds have, uncomplicated dreams, innocent dreams, dreams that don't include mothers who betray and godfathers who lie. Thomas had been looking for Emma's therapist's contact information. She's been seeing someone for anxiety, or so Catherine said. He wanted to talk to the therapist, understand what was going on with his daughter, why she'd been so withdrawn, why her grades had dropped, why she'd stopped eating at dinner. He found the diary in Emma's desk drawer. Purple leather, worn at the edges from daily use. He almost didn't open it. Privacy, boundaries, trust, all the things good parents respect. But something made him open it. Some instinct, some sense that his daughter was hurting in ways he didn't understand. The first entry is dated March 14th. 8 months ago, I found Mom's phone. She left it on the kitchen counter, unlocked. There were texts from Uncle Brandon. I didn't mean to look, but I saw his name and I read them, all of them. Hundreds of messages. They're having an affair. They've been together for a long time. The messages go back years. I feel sick. I actually threw up. I took pictures, screenshots of everything. I don't know why. I just need proof that I'm not crazy, that this is real. What do I do? If I tell Dad, it will destroy him. Grace will find out. Grace still believes in Santa Claus and happy families. Grace thinks Uncle Brandon hung the moon. How do I tell her that the people she trusts most in the world are lying to us every single day? I'm scared. I'm so scared. Thomas's hands are shaking. He turns the page. The handwriting gets messier, more frantic. March 20th. I saw them today at the mall. Mom said she was shopping alone. But Uncle Brandon was with her. They were holding hands. He bought her earrings, silver ones with blue stones. She was wearing them at dinner tonight. Dad complimented them. She said she bought them for herself. She lied right to his face. Right to my face. Grace thought they were pretty. I wanted to scream. April 8th. Mom told Dad she wants an open marriage. She used all this therapy language, made it sound so reasonable, like she's just trying to save their relationship. But I know the truth. She's been cheating for years. The open marriage is just her way of making it okay. Making Dad agree to his own betrayal. And he did. He agreed because he's trying to keep our family together. Because he doesn't know what I know. I hate her. I hate Uncle Brandon. But most of all, I hate myself for not telling Dad. May 3rd. Uncle Brandon came over for dinner. He brought Grace a stuffed animal. She was so happy. She hugged him and called him the best godfather ever. Mom and Uncle Brandon smiled at each other across the table. Dad didn't notice. He was too busy serving dessert. I couldn't eat. I went to my room and cried until I threw up. May 15th. I had a panic attack at school today. In the middle of English class, I couldn't breathe. The nurse called Mom. She picked me up, took me home, made me tea, asked what was wrong. I almost told her, almost said, I know about Uncle Brandon. But I couldn't, because if I tell her I know, she'll tell Dad. And then Grace will find out, and I can't let that happen. June 2nd, I'm failing chemistry. I used to get A's. Now I can't concentrate. I can't sleep. I keep having nightmares about Grace finding out, about Dad's face when he learns the truth. I'm exhausted all the time. Mom asked if I'm depressed. I said I'm just stressed about school. She said maybe I should see a therapist. The irony. June 20th. I started seeing Dr. Reeves today. Mom set it up. I told Dr. Reeves I have anxiety. I couldn't tell her the real reason. Patient confidentiality only goes so far. If I told her about Mom and Uncle Brandon, would she have to tell someone? Would it get back to Dad? I can't risk it. July 4th. Family barbecue. Uncle Brandon and Aunt Sarah came over. So did both sets of grandparents. Everyone talked about how perfect our family is, how lucky Grace and I are to have such loving parents. Uncle Brandon gave a toast about family and loyalty and love. Dad cried. He actually cried because he was so moved. I wanted to flip the table over. I wanted to scream, "He's sleeping with your wife." But Grace was sitting next to me, eating a hot dog, laughing at Uncle Brandon's jokes. So I said nothing. July 20th. Dad seems so sad lately, he doesn't know why. He thinks it's the open marriage. He thinks Mom is pulling away, and he doesn't understand what he did wrong. I know what happened. I know exactly what happened, and I can't tell him. Every time Uncle Brandon comes over, I see Dad's face light up. My brother, he calls him, the best friend a man could have. It's killing me, watching Dad love someone who's destroying him. August 10th, I cut myself today, not deep, just enough to feel something other than this crushing guilt, just enough to make the anxiety stop for a minute. I won't do it again. I scared myself. But for 1 minute, the physical pain was easier than the emotional pain. Is that crazy? Does that make me crazy? Thomas stops reading. His vision is blurred. He realizes he's crying. His 16-year-old daughter, his baby, she's been carrying this alone for 8 months. She's been destroying herself to protect him and Grace. He keeps reading. August 28th. School starts in a week. I don't know if I can do this. I don't know if I can sit in class and pretend everything is normal. I don't know if I can come home and have dinner with Mom and act like I don't know. Dr. Reeves keeps asking what's causing my anxiety. I keep lying. I'm so tired of lying. September 15th, Mom has an STD. I heard her on the phone with the doctor. She tested positive for something. Chlamydia, I think. She was crying. Then she called Uncle Brandon, told him to get tested. They had a fight. He said it wasn't from him. She said it had to be. I heard her say, "You're the only person I'm sleeping with besides Thomas." Besides Thomas. Like Dad is the other man. like Uncle Brandon is her real partner. September 22nd, Mom suggested she and Dad reconnect physically. I heard her say it. She knows she has an STD. She knows she should tell Dad. And she's still going to sleep with him. She's going to infect him on purpose. I have to tell him. I have to. But how? How do I explain that I've known for 6 months? How do I tell him I watched this happen and did nothing? Thomas stops. September 15th. The date Catherine tested positive. Emma knew. His daughter knew, and she's been watching this unfold, powerless to stop it. He turns to the last entry, written just yesterday. October 11th. Dad knows something, I can tell. He's quieter now, sadder. He sits in his car before coming into the house, like he's gathering strength. He looks at Mom differently, like he's seeing her for the first time. I think he's found out. Or he's starting to. If he confronts Mom, I need to be ready. I need to tell him I knew. I need to show him my journal. I need to help him. Grace needs at least one of us to be strong. And I'm done being weak. I'm done protecting the people who don't deserve it. When Dad asks I'm going to tell him everything. Thomas closes the journal carefully. His hands are shaking so hard he can barely hold it. Emma has been carrying this secret for 8 months. She's had panic attacks, failed classes, cut herself, destroyed her mental health, all to protect her little sister's innocence, all because she didn't want to be the one to break their family. And Catherine, his wife, Emma's mother, saw her daughter falling apart and did nothing, kept lying, kept sleeping with Brandon, kept planning Thursday night hotel visits while her teenage daughter was drowning. Thomas stands up, walks to the sink, splashes cold water on his face. He looks at his reflection in the window. He looks like he's aged 10 years in 2 weeks. His daughter protected him. His 16-year-old child carried this burden alone because she wanted to protect him and her sister, because she was braver and stronger than any child should have to be. Thomas picks up his phone, texts Emma, "I read your journal. I'm so sorry. I love you. We'll talk tomorrow. You did nothing wrong. This is not your fault." 3 dots appear. Then, "I'm sorry I didn't tell you sooner, Dad." Thomas texts back, "You were protecting Grace. You were protecting me. You were being strong when the adults failed you. I'm proud of you. And I'm going to fix this. I promise." Emma, "I have all the screenshots still, from Mom's phone, from March, if you need them." Thomas sits down. His daughter documented everything, saved evidence, protected him even while protecting their secret. He texts back, "Save them. We're going to need them." Then he opens a new document on his laptop. At the top, he writes, "Timeline of evidence." And he starts building his case. Medical records: Catherine tested positive September 28th. Thomas tested positive October 9th. Transmission timeline proves she infected him after diagnosis. Financial records: hotel charges every Thursday for 2 years, $189 per night. 43 documented visits to the Riverside Inn. Sarah Mitchell's evidence: photos of Brandon's car. Phone records showing thousands of calls and texts. Private investigators report. Emma's documentation: screenshots of text messages from March. Hotel keycard photographed. 8 months of diary entries documenting the affair and her trauma. Thomas works through the night, organizing, documenting, creating a timeline that's undeniable. By 3 a.m., he has a binder, tabs, highlighted sections, printed evidence. He's a teacher. He knows how to make a case. He knows how to present information clearly, and now he's going to use those skills to protect his daughters. At 3:47 a.m., his phone buzzes. A text from Emma. "I can't sleep. Are you awake?" "Yeah, you okay?" "Are you going to divorce her?" Thomas pauses, then, "Yes." "Good. Grace and I deserve better. So do you. We're going to get through this, Em. All 3 of us." "I know, Dad. I love you." "I love you too, sweetheart. More than anything." Thomas sets down his phone, looks at the binder of evidence on his table, Then he thinks about something else, something that's been nagging at him since he read Emma's diary. Grace, sweet, innocent 11-year-old Grace, who was born in October, 9 months after January. Thomas pulls up his calendar from that year. January, they'd been at a family gathering. Brandon and Sarah had stayed with them for a week. New Year's celebration. Brandon and Catherine had volunteered to do all the grocery shopping. They'd been gone for hours. Thomas had joked about it. "What did you do? Drive to the next state?" Catherine had laughed. "The store was packed. You know how holidays are." Thomas opens a new document. Does the math. Grace was born October 14th. Full term. Count back 9 months. Mid-January. The week Brandon and Sarah stayed with them. Thomas's stomach drops. He pulls out his phone. Calls his family doctor's office. Leaves a voicemail. "Dr. Winters, this is Thomas Barrett. I need to order a paternity test for my daughter Grace. Confidential. Please call me back." He sits there in his kitchen surrounded by evidence of his wife's 2-year affair, and he realizes he might not even be sure Grace is his daughter. The thought is unbearable. Grace with her gap-toothed smile and her soccer trophies and her bedtime prayers. Grace who looks like him, who acts like him, who calls him daddy and trusts him completely. But he needs to know, he has to know, because if Brandon took his wife, his friendship, his trust, his health, Thomas needs to know if he also took his daughter. The next morning, Thomas sits across from Jennifer Paget at her law office downtown. She's one of the best family attorneys in the state. She's also expensive, but Thomas doesn't care about the cost anymore. He slides the binder across her desk. This is everything. Jennifer opens it, starts reading. Her expression doesn't change. She's seen it all before, but Thomas sees her jaw tighten when she gets to the medical records. When she gets to Emma's diary entries, she pauses. "Your daughter kept this for 8 months?" She was trying to protect her sister. Jennifer closes the binder, looks at Thomas with something like respect. "Mr. Barrett, this is one of the most thoroughly documented cases I've ever seen. Medical evidence, financial evidence, third-party corroboration, a minor child's contemporaneous written account. If you file for divorce, you'll win full custody, no question. I'm also ordering a paternity test for my younger daughter." Jennifer nods. "Smart, if there's any doubt." "There shouldn't be doubt, but after everything else..." Thomas's voice breaks. "I need to know." "I understand. We'll order it as routine genetic screening. Your daughter won't know what it's really for." Jennifer makes a note. "Now, your wife will fight this. She'll hire a lawyer. She'll try to paint you as controlling or unstable. The affair partner's wife, Sarah Mitchell, she'll be a key witness. Are you prepared for this to get ugly?" "It's already ugly." "It's going to get uglier, public. Your anniversary party, that's in 6 weeks? November 20th, our 20th anniversary. We've had it planned for months, both families, our church community, about 150 people." Jennifer leans back. "Thomas, I'm going to suggest something that might sound vindictive, but strategically it's powerful." "What?" "Expose her at the party." Thomas stares at her. "Hear me out," Jennifer continues. "You have undeniable evidence. Medical records don't lie. Your daughter's testimony is devastating. If you file for divorce quietly, your wife will control the narrative. She'll tell people you were controlling, that she was unhappy, that the marriage was already over. She'll make herself the victim. But if you present the evidence publicly, in front of both families, in front of your community, nobody can dispute the facts. And Emma's testimony in front of witnesses? That's powerful. That shows you're not the bad guy. Your daughter choosing you publicly, that's the best evidence you could have." "That's nuclear." "Yes, it is. But here's the thing. Your wife already went nuclear when she knowingly infected you with an STD. She went nuclear when she traumatized your teenage daughter. She went nuclear when she had a 2-year affair with your best friend. You didn't start this war, Thomas. You're just choosing to fight back." Thomas thinks about it. About Catherine standing in front of 150 people, about reading medical records aloud, about Emma's testimony, about Brandon's face when the truth comes out. She humiliated me privately for 2 years, Thomas says slowly. I think public accountability is fair. Jennifer smiles. It's not a nice smile. It's the smile of a lawyer who's about to win big. Then let's plan this carefully, very carefully. They spend the next hour strategizing when to file the papers, how to present evidence, what Emma should say if she's willing to testify, how to coordinate with Sarah Mitchell, how to document everything for the custody hearing that will inevitably follow. When Thomas leaves Jennifer's office, he has a plan, a timeline, a strategy, and a manila folder with his anniversary party on the cover. Inside the folder is a script, what he'll say, how he'll present evidence when Emma will step forward, how to handle Catherine's reaction. It's methodical, clinical. The teacher in him planning a lesson, the father in him protecting his children, the husband in him seeking justice for a marriage that died 2 years ago without him knowing. Thomas sits in his car in the parking lot, texts Emma, "Can you meet me after school? Coffee shop on Main?" "Sure. Everything okay?" "We need to talk about the anniversary party, about what happens next, and I need to know if you're ready." 3 dots. Then, "I'm ready, Dad. I've been ready for 8 months." Thomas drives to school, teaches his classes, discusses The Great Gatsby with juniors who think Gatsby's love for Daisy is romantic. He tells them it's not romance, it's obsession. It's built on lies and illusions. Real love, he says, is built on truth, even when the truth is hard. The students don't know he's talking about his own life. After school, Emma meets him at the coffee shop. She looks older than 16, tired but determined. Thomas shows her the plan. "You don't have to do this. I can handle the party without you." "No." Emma's voice is firm. "I need to do this. For me. For Grace. I've been silent for 8 months, Dad. I'm done being silent." "It's going to be hard. Both families will be there. Your grandparents. Catherine's going to be devastated." "Good. She should be devastated. She destroyed our family. She traumatized me. She infected you on purpose. Why should she get to walk away from this without consequences?" Thomas looks at his daughter, his brave, damaged, fierce daughter. "When did you get so strong?" "When I had to be." Emma pulls out her phone, opens a folder. "I have all the screenshots still, from March. I'll airdrop them to you. And Dad, at the party, I'm going to read from my diary. The entries about panic attacks and therapy and watching you suffer. People need to know what she did to us, all of us." Thomas's eyes fill with tears. "I'm so proud of you, Em." "Don't be proud yet. Wait until we get through this." Emma reaches across the table, takes her father's hand. "We're going to be okay, Dad. The 3 of us. We're going to be better than okay." That night, Thomas picks up Grace from soccer practice. She's muddy and happy, chattering about the goal she almost scored. She asks when Uncle Brandon is coming to watch her games again. He hasn't been around lately. Thomas looks at his youngest daughter in the rearview mirror. Grace, with her gap-toothed smile and her blonde hair in braids. Grace, who might not be his daughter, but she is. In every way that matters, she's his, and he's going to protect her, even if it means burning down the illusion of their perfect family, even if it means standing in front of 150 people and exposing the truth, even if it means watching his daughters see their mother for who she really is. Because the truth, no matter how ugly, is better than living in a beautiful lie. November 19th. The day before the anniversary party, Thomas sits in Dr. Winter's office with an envelope in his hands. The envelope is thick, official, sealed with the lab's stamp across the flap. Inside is the answer to a question he's been terrified to ask. "Do you want me to stay while you open it?" Dr. Winters asks gently. Thomas shakes his head. His hands are trembling. "I need to do this alone." He tears open the envelope, pulls out the report, medical terminology, genetic markers, probability calculations. His eyes scan down to the conclusion. Probability of paternity, 99.99%. Thomas Michael Barrett is the biological father of Grace Elizabeth Barrett. Thomas closes his eyes. The relief is so overwhelming he can barely breathe. Grace is his daughter, his blood. Brandon didn't take that from him, too. He folds the report carefully, puts it back in the envelope, slides it into his jacket pocket, right next to his heart. When he gets home, Emma is in the kitchen. She looks at him, sees something in his face. The test came back. Thomas nods. And? She's mine. Grace is mine. Emma's eyes fill with tears. She walks over, hugs her father tight. I knew she was. I could see it every time she smiled at you, but I'm glad you know for sure. They stand there for a moment, father and daughter, holding each other up the way they've been doing for weeks now. Are you ready for tomorrow? Thomas asks. Emma pulls back, wipes her eyes. Yeah, I am. I printed out the diary entries I'm going to read, the ones about the panic attacks, about watching you suffer, about protecting Grace. You don't have to. Yes, I do. People need to understand what she did, not just to you, to me, to us. Emma's voice is steady, strong. I've been quiet for too long, Dad. Tomorrow, I'm done being quiet. That night, Catherine comes home late, says she was at a work function. Thomas doesn't ask questions anymore. There's no point. In 24 hours, the questions will be over. The lies will be exposed. Everything will be out in the open. Catherine goes upstairs to bed. Thomas stays in the living room, reviewing his notes one more time. What he'll say, how he'll say it, the order of evidence presentation. His phone buzzes, a text from Sarah Mitchell. Brandon doesn't know I'm coming tomorrow. I'll be there with my evidence. You're not alone in this. Thomas texts back, thank you for everything. Sarah, we protect each other now. That's what family does. Thomas looks at that message for a long time. That's what family does. Not DNA, not marriage vows, not godparent promises, action, truth showing up. Tomorrow he's going to show 150 people what real loyalty looks like. November 20th, the Barrett 20th anniversary celebration. The church community hall is decorated like a dream. White lights strung across the ceiling, photos of Thomas and Catherine through the years, displayed on tables, wedding day, first pregnancy, family vacations, Christmas mornings, a slideshow projector set up in front, a table with an elegant silver gift box wrapped in white ribbon. 150 guests arrive, both sets of parents, Catherine's sister and brother, Thomas's college friends, co-workers, church members, neighbors, the principal of Thomas's school, some of his students who helped set up. Grace is with Thomas's parents for the weekend, a special grandparent trip they'd planned weeks ago. Grace was disappointed to miss the party, but Thomas insisted. She doesn't need to see what's about to happen. Emma is there, wearing a black dress, standing near the exit, her phone in her hand, recording everything for legal purposes. She'd asked Jennifer Paget if that was allowed. Jennifer said absolutely. Document everything. Brandon and Sarah Mitchell arrive. Brandon looks uncomfortable. He keeps glancing at Thomas, trying to catch his eye. Thomas ignores him. Sarah walks past her husband without looking at him, goes straight to Thomas, squeezes his hand. I'm here, she whispers. Catherine is radiant. New dress, expensive. Her hair professionally done. She works the room like she's running for office, hugging people, thanking them for coming, laughing at jokes. She doesn't notice that Emma is standing alone. Doesn't notice that Thomas is quiet. Doesn't notice the USB drive in his pocket. At 7:30, the DJ announces it's time for the vow renewal ceremony. Catherine beams. She'd planned this part, had written new vows, romantic ones, about growth and rediscovery and finding each other again. She doesn't know Thomas wrote his own speech. And now, the DJ says, Thomas has prepared something special for his wife. Thomas? Thomas walks to the microphone. Emma moves closer to the exit, phone ready. Sarah Mitchell positions herself where she can see Brandon's face. Jennifer Paget, Thomas's lawyer, stands near the back. She'd insisted on being there. "In case you need legal counsel immediately after," she'd said. Thomas looks out at the crowd. These people who love him, who love Catherine, who think they're here to celebrate a marriage. He begins. "Thank you all for coming tonight. 20 years. It's a long time. Long enough to build a life, to have children, to think you know someone." His voice is calm, controlled. Long enough to believe in promises that were already broken. Catherine's smile falters slightly. "Thomas, please, let me finish." Thomas pulls the USB drive from his pocket, hands it to the DJ. "Can you load this? There's a slideshow I want to share." The DJ, confused, loads it. The projection screen lights up. The first slide appears, "Open marriage proposed, April 15th, 2024. The room goes quiet. Catherine stands up. "Thomas, what are you doing?" "I'm telling the truth." Thomas advances to the next slide. 6 months ago, Catherine came to me with a proposal. She wanted to open our marriage. She said she needed to find herself. I agreed, because I wanted to keep our family together. Next slide. Hotel receipts, dozens of them, highlighted dates. The Riverside Inn, charges dating back to March 2022. But Catherine didn't need an open marriage to find herself. She'd already been finding herself every Thursday night for 2 years at the Riverside Inn while I coached our daughter's soccer games. Gasps from the audience. Catherine's face goes white. "You went through my credit cards?" "I did. And I found 2 years of systematic deception." Next slide. Text message logs. Thousands of texts and calls to the same number every day, multiple times a day. Brandon Mitchell stands up, tries to move toward the exit. Sarah blocks his path. "Sit down, Brandon," she says loudly enough for people to hear. "Everyone here should know what you did to your family." Thomas advances to the next slide. Medical records. Catherine M. Barrett. Test date, September 28th, 2024. Result, positive for chlamydia trachomatis. The room erupts. Whispers, shocked gasps. Catherine's mother puts her hand over her mouth. Catherine tested positive for an STD in September. Thomas says, his voice still calm, still measured, like he's teaching a class. She was instructed to notify all sexual partners immediately and abstain from contact until treatment was complete. Next slide. Thomas's medical records. Thomas M. Barrett. Test date, October 9th, 2024. Result, positive for chlamydia trachomatis. Patient reports monogamy within marriage. I tested positive 2 weeks later. I hadn't been with anyone else. I had agreed to an open marriage, but I couldn't do it. I couldn't be with someone who wasn't my wife, so I remained faithful. Thomas looks at Catherine. My wife did not. Catherine is crying now. Thomas, please, stop this. We can talk about this privately. We've been private for 2 years. Privacy gave you permission to destroy our family. Thomas turns to the audience. You all need to understand something. Catherine didn't just have an affair. She had an affair with my best friend, with our daughter's godfather, with Brandon Mitchell. Every head turns to look at Brandon. He's pale, shaking. Sarah stands next to him, her face hard. Brandon, Thomas says, would you like to confirm, or should I show more evidence? Brandon says nothing, just stands there. Thomas shows the next slide, photos. Brandon's car parked at the Riverside Inn. 17 different dates, timestamps, license plates visible. Sarah Mitchell hired a private investigator. These photos confirm what the hotel receipts and phone records already proved. My wife and my best friend have been having an affair for over 2 years. The room is completely silent now. People are looking at each other, at Catherine, at Brandon, trying to process what they're hearing. But the worst part, Thomas says, and his voice finally cracks. The worst part isn't what they did to me. It's what they did to my daughter. He gestures to Emma. She walks to the front, her phone still recording. She's shaking, but she's there. Emma, Thomas says gently. Emma pulls out printed pages, her diary entries. Her hands tremble as she starts reading. March 14th, I found Mom's phone. She left it unlocked. There were texts from Uncle Brandon, hundreds of messages. I didn't mean to look, but I saw his name and I read them, all of them. They're having an affair. I feel sick. I actually threw up. The room is so quiet you can hear people breathing. Emma continues. I took pictures, screenshots of everything. I don't know why. I just need proof that I'm not crazy, that this is real. What do I do? If I tell Dad, it will destroy him. Grace will find out. Grace still believes in Santa Claus and happy families. How do I tell her that the people she trusts most are lying to us every day? Catherine makes a sound, half sob, half gasp. Emma, sweetie, you don't understand. Don't call me sweetie. Emma's voice is loud, strong, angry. You made me keep your secret for 8 months. You watched me fall apart. You saw my panic attacks. You saw my grades drop. You took me to therapy and asked what was wrong. And the whole time you knew. You knew I was destroying myself trying to protect you, to protect Grace, to protect Dad. Emma pulls out another page, reads another entry. July 20th. Dad seems so sad lately. He doesn't know why. I know why. Every time Uncle Brandon comes over for dinner, I want to tell Dad. But Grace is laughing at Uncle Brandon's jokes. How do I take that away from her? Thomas watches his daughter, his brave, broken daughter who's been carrying this weight alone. Emma continues reading. September 15th. Mom has an STD. I heard her on the phone with the doctor. She tested positive. Then she called Uncle Brandon. They had a fight. He said it wasn't from him. She said it had to be. I heard her say, you're the only person I'm sleeping with besides Thomas. Besides Thomas, like Dad is the other man. People gasp. Catherine's father stands up, walks to the front, stops in front of his daughter, looks at her with disgust. How could you? He says quietly. Then he walks past her, puts his hand on Thomas's shoulder, and walks out. Emma reads one more entry, the one dated October 11th. Dad knows something, I can tell. If he confronts Mom, I need to be ready. I need to tell him I knew. I need to show him my journal. I need to help him. Grace needs at least one of us to be strong. I'm done being weak. I'm done protecting people who don't deserve it. Emma folds the pages, looks at her mother. I protected you for 8 months. I destroyed my mental health protecting you. I had panic attacks. I cut myself. I failed classes, all to keep your secret, all to protect Grace's innocence. And you knew. You saw what was happening to me, and you just kept lying. Catherine reaches for her daughter. Emma, please. Emma steps back. No, you don't get to touch me. You don't get to pretend you care now. Thomas puts his hand on Emma's shoulder. She's shaking. He holds her steady. Then he turns back to the audience, opens the silver anniversary gift box on the table, pulls out a stack of papers. These are divorce papers. I filed them yesterday. He hands them to Catherine. Happy anniversary. I have full custody of Emma. She's 16. She chose me. I'm seeking primary custody of Grace, and I have a restraining order preventing you from unsupervised contact with either daughter until we go to court. Catherine takes the papers with shaking hands. She's crying. Mascara running down her face. Thomas, please, we can fix this. We can go to counseling. We can't fix this. You broke something that can't be repaired. Thomas looks at Brandon. As for you, Brandon, you're no longer Grace's godfather. You're not welcome in my home. You're not welcome around my children. You're nothing to my family. Brandon finally speaks. Tommy, please. My name is Thomas. You lost the right to call me Tommy the first time you touched my wife. Sarah Mitchell steps forward. She's been quiet until now, but she pulls out her own folder. Since we're sharing, she says, her voice hard, I'm also filing for divorce. And Brandon, your children will know the truth. When they're old enough to understand, they'll know exactly what you did. She turns to the crowd. I hired a private investigator 3 months ago. I have thousands of text messages, phone records, hotel receipts, photos. Everything you need to understand that my husband destroyed 2 families so he could sleep with his best friend's wife. Sarah hands her folder to Jennifer Paget. Then she walks over to Thomas, hugs him. "We're going to be okay," she whispers. People start leaving. Some hug Thomas on their way out. Some hug Emma. Catherine's mother stops in front of her daughter. Doesn't say anything, just shakes her head and walks away. Thomas's principal, Dr. Harrison, stops in front of him. "Thomas, take Monday off. Take the week if you need it. The school supports you. Your students support you. We've got your back." One of Thomas's former students, now in college, stops. "Mr. Barrett, you taught us that integrity matters. That truth matters. Thank you for living what you taught us." The room empties slowly. Catherine and Brandon are left standing alone, separated now, no longer united in their deception, just 2 people who destroyed everything they claimed to love. Emma turns to her father. "Can we go home now?" "Yeah, sweetheart, let's go home." As they walk out, Catherine calls after them. Emma, please." Emma doesn't turn around. Sarah Mitchell follows them out. She doesn't look back at Brandon either. In the parking lot, under the November sky, 3 people who were betrayed stand together. Not a family yet, but something like it. Something built on truth instead of lies, on loyalty instead of convenience, on choice instead of obligation. "Thank you," Thomas says to Sarah, "for being here, for standing up." "We protect each other now," Sarah says. "That's what real family does." Emma nods, wipes her eyes. "Yeah, that's what real family does." They stand there for a moment, the 3 of them. Then they go home. Different homes, different lives, but connected now by something stronger than blood or marriage vows, connected by survival. 1 week after the anniversary party, Catherine shows up at Thomas's house. It's a Tuesday. Emma's at school. Grace is still with Thomas's parents. He'd asked them to keep her a bit longer just until things settled. Emma opens the door, sees her mother standing there. Catherine looks different, smaller somehow, tired, like she's been crying for days. "Emma, I need to talk to your father." "Mom, you're not supposed to be here. The restraining order..." "I know, but I need to talk to him, please." Emma looks at her mother, this woman who gave birth to her, who raised her, who destroyed her. "Why?" Emma asks quietly. "So you can lie some more?" "Emma, please, I'm still your mother." "No." Emma's voice is quiet, devastating. "You were. But mothers protect their children. You made me protect you." Catherine's eyes fill with tears. "I never meant for you to find out. I never meant for you to carry that burden. But I did, for 8 months, while you kept lying, while you kept seeing him, while you gave Dad an STD. Emma steps back. "You need to leave. Dad's at work, and even if he was here, he wouldn't want to see you." "I love you, Emma. I love you and Grace. I made mistakes, but I'm still your mother." Love doesn't make your child keep your secrets. Love doesn't expose your family to disease. Love doesn't lie for 2 years. Emma starts to close the door. "Goodbye, Mom." "Emma, wait." "No, I waited for 8 months. I'm done waiting." Emma closes the door, locks it, stands there shaking. Then she texts her father. "Mom came by. I told her to leave. I'm okay. I just need you to know I'm okay." Thomas texts back immediately. "I'm coming home. Be there in 10 minutes. When Thomas gets home, Emma is sitting on the couch, crying. He sits next to her, pulls her into a hug. "I told her to leave," Emma says. "I told her she's not my mother anymore." "That's okay. That's your choice." "Does that make me a bad person?" "No, sweetheart. It makes you a person with boundaries. It makes you strong." Thomas kisses the top of her head. "You don't owe her anything. Not after what she did. I used to think family meant forever, that no matter what, you had to stick with your blood." "Family is who shows up, Em. Who tells the truth? Who protects you? Blood doesn't make someone family. Loyalty does. Emma nods against his shoulder. Then you're my family, and Grace, and maybe Aunt Sarah. Yeah, that's our family now. The consequences come fast. Catherine's marketing firm placed her on indefinite leave after the video from the anniversary party goes viral. Someone recorded Thomas's speech, Emma's testimony, uploaded it. Within 48 hours, it has 200,000 views. The comments are brutal. This is what happens when you betray your family. That 16-year-old is braver than both her parents. The husband's composure is incredible. That's a man with integrity. Catherine's friends stop calling. The book club drops her. The church asks her not to return until she's worked through her issues. Grace's soccer moms block her number. Her parents limit contact, not cutting her off completely, but there's a distance now, a coldness. Her father's last words to her echo, "How could you?" Brandon Mitchell loses his pharmaceutical sales job. A client saw the video, called Brandon's boss, said they couldn't have someone with ethical issues representing their company. Brandon is fired within a week. His children refuse to see him. His 14-year-old daughter said, "You destroyed our family. For what? For someone else's wife? Stay away from us." His parents, traditional Catholics who raised him on family values, cut contact. His mother leaves one voicemail. "I don't know who you are anymore. Don't call until you've made amends, if that's even possible." The Youth Baseball League asks him to step down from coaching. Several parents express discomfort. The league president says, "Given the circumstances, we think it's best." Meanwhile, Thomas receives an outpouring of support. His students organize a Team Barrett campaign. They wear wristbands, write encouraging notes. One student gives him a card signed by the entire junior class. "Thank you for showing us what integrity looks like." Dr. Harrison, the principal, releases a public statement. Thomas Barrett handled a devastating personal situation with grace, dignity, and unwavering commitment to his children. This school stands behind him completely. The church community rallies, meals delivered, offers to help with grace. The pastor visits personally. "What was done to your family was unconscionable. We support you." Sarah Mitchell becomes a regular presence. She and Thomas aren't romantic. They're both still processing their divorces, their betrayals, but they're friends, co-survivors. She helps Emma when she's struggling. She's there when Grace comes home and needs to understand gently why mommy doesn't live with them anymore. Here are some questions for you. If you were in Thomas's position, would you have exposed the affair publicly or handled it privately? Comment 1 for public exposure. Comment 2 for private divorce. There's no wrong answer, but Thomas made his choice, and the consequences, both for him and Catherine, are playing out in real time. December 15th, Family Court. Judge Rebecca Stanton presides. She's 62 years old, been a family court judge for 20 years. She's seen everything, or so she thought, until she read the case file for Barrett v. Barrett. Catherine's lawyer argues for joint custody. "My client made mistakes, but she loves her daughters. She deserves the opportunity to repair those relationships." Jennifer Paget, Thomas's lawyer, presents the evidence, medical records, Emma's diary, hotel receipts, text messages, documented timeline of deception. "This isn't about a mistake, Your Honor," Jennifer says. "This is about a pattern of behavior that traumatized a minor child, exposed the family to health risks, and demonstrated complete disregard for her children's well-being." The judge reviews the evidence, asks questions, then asks to speak to Emma. Emma takes the stand. She's wearing a dress her Aunt Sarah helped her pick out. Professional, mature. She looks older than 16. "Miss Barrett," Judge Stanton says gently, "I know this is difficult, but I need to understand your perspective. You knew about your mother's affair for 8 months?" "Yes, Your Honor." Why didn't you tell your father? Emma takes a breath. Because I was 16. Because I was scared. Because I didn't want to be the one who broke our family. I thought if I kept the secret, I could protect my little sister. She's 11. She still believed everything was okay. I didn't want to take that away from her. What happened during those 8 months? I fell apart. Emma's voice is steady but quiet. I had panic attacks. I failed 2 classes. I couldn't sleep. I couldn't eat. My mom took me to therapy, but I couldn't tell the therapist the truth because I was afraid it would get back to my dad. So I just kept lying, kept protecting everyone except myself. How do you feel about your mother now? Emma pauses. I don't hate her, but I don't trust her. She made me keep her secret. She watched me destroy myself trying to protect her, and she just kept lying. That's not what mothers do. Mothers protect their children. She made me protect her. And your father? My dad is the strongest person I know. When he found out, he didn't fall apart. He didn't yell or scream. He protected us. He made a plan. He made sure Grace wouldn't be traumatized. He made sure I knew it wasn't my fault. That's what parents do. Miss Barrett, if I grant your father primary custody of your younger sister, would you feel safe in that arrangement? Yes. Grace should be with Dad. He's the one who kept showing up. Who told the truth? Who put us first? Emma looks at her mother. Catherine is crying. My mom chose herself for 2 years. Dad chose us. That's the difference. Judge Stanton makes notes, calls a brief recess. When court resumes, she delivers her ruling. I've reviewed the evidence, the testimony. Miss Emma Barrett's diary entries are particularly compelling and heartbreaking. She looks at Catherine. Mrs. Barrett, your actions demonstrated a pattern of deception that directly harmed your teenage daughter's mental health. You knowingly exposed your husband to a sexually transmitted infection. You carried on a 2-year affair with your daughter's godfather. These are not momentary lapses in judgment. These are sustained choices that put your needs above your family's well-being. Catherine's lawyer tries to interject. The judge holds up her hand. I'm granting Mr. Thomas Barrett full legal custody of Emma Barrett. Emma is 16. She has the right to choose where she lives, and she has chosen her father. I'm granting Mr. Barrett primary physical custody of Grace Barrett, age 11. Mrs. Catherine Barrett will have supervised visitation with Grace, 2 hours per week, pending completion of family therapy. Unsupervised visitation with Emma only if Emma consents, which she may revoke at any time. Catherine starts sobbing. Her lawyer puts a hand on her shoulder. Judge Stanton continues. Mrs. Barrett, you will undergo individual therapy as a condition of maintaining any visitation rights. You will complete a parenting course, and you will pay child support. The judge looks at Emma. Miss Barrett, you demonstrated remarkable courage today. What you went through, what you're still going through, no child should have to experience. But you survived. And you protected your sister. That's heroic. Emma nods, tears in her eyes. As they leave the courthouse, Catherine tries one more time. Emma, please. I know I hurt you, but I'm still your mom. I can change. We can fix this. Emma stops, turns around. Mom, I hope you do change. I hope you get help. I hope someday you understand what you did to us. But I can't be part of that journey. I can't keep trying to save you. I have to save myself now. Catherine reaches for her. Emma steps back. Goodbye, Mom. Thomas puts his arm around his daughter. They walk away. Emma doesn't look back. In the car, Emma is quiet. Then she says, Did I do the right thing? You did what you needed to do to heal. That's always the right thing. Will Grace hate me for choosing you? No, sweetheart. Grace is going to understand that you protected her, that you loved her enough to keep her innocent as long as possible. When she's older, she'll thank you. Emma leans her head against the window. We won, Dad. No, Em, you won. You were braver than I ever could be. They drive home, to their house. Their family of 2, soon to be 3 again when Grace comes home. Their family built on truth and choice and showing up. It's not the family Thomas thought he'd have, but it's real, and that's better than any beautiful lie. 6 months later, May Thomas Barrett stands in his kitchen on a Saturday morning making pancakes, real ones from scratch, the kind his mother used to make. Grace is setting the table. Emma is upstairs getting ready. She's going to visit colleges today with Aunt Sarah. The house is different now, lighter somehow. The photos of Catherine are gone. Emma took them down the week after the custody hearing. "We don't need to erase her," she said, "but we don't need to display her either." In their place are new photos. Emma and Grace at the beach last month. Thomas and his daughters at Grace's soccer championship game. Her team won, and Grace scored the final goal. A picture of Sarah Mitchell and her kids at Thomas's house for Thanksgiving. A different kind of family gathering. Found family. On the refrigerator, Grace's latest drawing. She's been in art therapy, working through her feelings about her mother, about Uncle Brandon, about the changes in her life. This drawing shows 3 people holding hands, labels underneath Dad, Emma, me. In the corner, a smaller figure, Aunt Sarah. Thomas's phone buzzes, a text from his lawyer. "Final decree came through. Divorce is official. You're free." Free. Thomas looks at that word for a long time. He doesn't feel free exactly, more like unburdened, like he's been carrying something heavy for years without knowing it, and now he's finally set it down. There's another envelope on the counter, the one he opened last week. The final paternity test results, not the preliminary ones from November, but the full genetic analysis, requested by Catherine's lawyer as a last-ditch custody play. Probability of paternity 99.999%. Thomas Michael Barrett is the biological father of Grace Elizabeth Barrett. Grace is his, completely, biologically, legally, emotionally, his daughter in every way. When he'd shown Grace the results, explained what they meant in age-appropriate terms, she just hugged him. "I knew I was yours, Daddy. I never wondered." But Thomas had wondered, had needed to know. And now he does. Emma comes downstairs, backpack ready for the college tour. She's gained weight, her color is better, she's sleeping again. Dr. Reeves, her therapist, says she's making remarkable progress. Most people who go through what Emma went through take years to heal. She's doing it in months. That's resilience. "Ready to look at schools?" Thomas asks. "Yeah, Aunt Sarah's picking me up in 10. Emma pours herself orange juice. "You know, I was thinking about what you said, about family being who shows up. What about it? I think I want to write my college essay about it, about learning that family isn't blood, it's choice, it's loyalty, it's truth." She looks at her dad. "Is that too, I don't know, too real?" Real is exactly what college admissions officers want to see. Real is what makes you you. Emma pulls out her phone, shows him her notes app. She's been writing. "I learned what family means when mine fell apart. I learned it from a father who chose truth over comfort, from a sister whose innocence I protected at the cost of my own, from a woman who wasn't related by blood, but stood beside us anyway when her own marriage crumbled. Family isn't who you're born to. It's who shows up when you're falling apart. It's who tells the truth even when it hurts. It's who stays." Thomas reads it. His eyes fill with tears. "That's perfect, sweetheart. That's exactly right." A car honks outside. Sarah's here. Emma hugs her dad. "Love you. Don't let Grace eat all the pancakes." "Love you too. Text me from the campus." Emma leaves. Thomas watches her get into Sarah's car, watches them drive away. 2 women from broken marriages, helping each other's kids, building something new from the wreckage. Grace comes into the kitchen. "Is it ready yet? I'm starving." Thomas plates the pancakes. They sit at the table, just the two of them for now. Grace chatters about school, about soccer, about the art project she's working on. She mentions her mom briefly. She had supervised visitation yesterday. It was okay, Grace says. She cried a lot, asked how you were doing. What did you tell her? I said you were good, that we were good. Grace takes a bite of pancake. Are you good, Daddy? Thomas thinks about it. His marriage is over. His best friend betrayed him. His daughter was traumatized. He's a single father learning to navigate custody schedules and therapy appointments and helping his girls process trauma no child should have to face. But Emma is healing. Grace is thriving. Sarah Mitchell has become real family, not romantic, but something maybe better. Steady, honest, present. Her kids and his kids have become a unit of sorts, supporting each other, understanding each other in ways only children of divorce can. Thomas has a new routine, a new life. It's not perfect. Grace still cries sometimes, missing her mom. Emma still has hard days when the panic returns. Thomas still wakes up some nights reliving the betrayal. But they're honest now. They talk about the hard things. They don't pretend. They don't hide. They show up for each other. Yes, sweetheart, Thomas says. I'm good. We're all good. After breakfast, Thomas takes Grace to the park. She wants to practice soccer. Thomas acts as goalie, like he always has. But today, Sarah brings her kids, too. They play an impromptu game. Grace, Sarah's daughter Lily, Sarah's son Marcus, Thomas, and Sarah as referees and occasional players. At one point, Grace scores a goal. She runs to Thomas, jumps into his arms. Did you see that, Dad? Did you see? I saw, Grace. I'm so proud of you. I wish Mom could have seen it. Thomas sets her down gently, crouches to her level. Grace, your mom loves you. She made mistakes, big ones, but she's still your mom, and she's trying to get better. Maybe someday she'll be at your games again, but right now, I'm here. Emma's here. Aunt Sarah and Lily and Marcus are here. The people who love you are here. But what about Uncle Brandon? Thomas pauses. They've had this conversation before, but Grace still asks sometimes, still misses the man who used to be her godfather. Uncle Brandon made choices that hurt our family. He's not going to be in our lives anymore, but that doesn't mean you're alone. You have so many people who love you, who show up for you, who tell the truth even when it's hard. Grace thinks about this, then nods. Like you, Dad, you always tell the truth. I try, sweetheart. I always try. They play for another hour. Then Sarah suggests ice cream. They pile into her van, 5 kids, 2 adults, all of them from shattered marriages, all of them finding a way forward together. At the ice cream shop, Grace asks Sarah, "Are you going to marry my dad?" Sarah laughs. "No, honey, your dad and I are friends. Good friends, but that's all." "Oh, Emma said maybe you would." Emma's a romantic, but sometimes friendship is better than romance. Sometimes friendship is exactly what people need. Thomas nods. Aunt Sarah and I are building something different. We're building a family based on choice and honesty. That's better than any marriage built on lies. Grace seems satisfied with this. She goes back to her ice cream. Later, at home, Emma texts from the college tour. "I think I found my school, Dad. I love it here." And Aunt Sarah says she thinks I'll get in. Thomas texts back, "I'm so proud of you, Em. You're going to do amazing things." Emma, "Only because you showed me how. Love you." That night, after Grace is in bed, Thomas sits in his classroom. He'd gone back after dinner to prep for Monday's lessons. He's teaching poetry next week. Langston Hughes. Dreams deferred. Dreams that dry up like raisins in the sun. But also dreams that transform. Dreams that grow in unexpected directions. Dreams that become something different than what you planned, but maybe something better. Thomas thinks about his life. The plan he'd had 20, 30, 40 years with Catherine, growing old together, watching their daughters graduate, marry, have children of their own, the dream of an intact family. That dream is gone. dead, dried up. But in its place, something new is growing. A family built on truth, on showing up, on loyalty that's earned, not assumed. Emma strong and healing, Grace innocent but aware. Sarah and her kids finding their way alongside them. A community that rallied, students who learned what integrity looks like, not the dream he planned, but maybe the dream he needed. Thomas's phone buzzes, a text from an unknown number. He almost deletes it, but something makes him open it. It's Catherine. I know you probably won't read this, but I need to say it anyway. I'm sorry for everything. I destroyed our family. I traumatized Emma. I lied to you for years. I don't expect forgiveness. I just want you to know I see what I did. I'm in therapy. I'm trying to be better, not for you, for me, and maybe someday for the girls. If they'll let me. Thomas reads it, considers responding, decides not to, not yet. Maybe not ever. Some apologies come too late to matter. He deletes the message, goes home. Emma is in the living room when he arrives, reading on the couch. Grace is asleep upstairs. The house is quiet, peaceful. Dad? Emma says, can I ask you something? Of course. Do you think Mom will ever really change? I don't know, Em. That's up to her. All we can control is ourselves, our choices, our boundaries. Emma nods. Dr. Reeves says the same thing, that I can't fix Mom. I can only fix myself. Dr. Reeves is right. Emma closes her book. You know what's weird? I'm not angry anymore. I was, for a long time. But now I'm just, I don't know, tired of being angry, ready to move on. That's healing, sweetheart. That's what recovery looks like. Yeah. Emma stands up, stretches. I'm going to bed. Big day tomorrow. Grace has her soccer banquet. Aunt Sarah's coming to help with snacks. Sounds good. Hey, Dad? Yeah? Thank you for protecting us, for telling the truth, for choosing us. Emma's eyes fill with tears. Mom chose herself. Uncle Brandon chose himself. But you chose us. That's what I'll remember. Not the betrayal, not the pain, just that you chose us. Thomas pulls his daughter into a hug. I'll always choose you, Em, you and Grace, always. Emma goes upstairs. Thomas stands in the living room, alone. He looks at the wall where the family photos used to be, where Catherine's picture used to hang. Now there's a photo Emma took last week. Thomas and Grace at her soccer game. Thomas cheering as Grace scores. Joy on both their faces, real, unfiltered joy. And next to it, a drawing Grace made in art therapy. Not the one on the fridge, a different one. This one shows a tree. At the base, the word truth. On the branches, names: Dad, Emma, Grace, Aunt Sarah, Lily, Marcus. At the top, Grace wrote, Our real family. Thomas looks at that drawing for a long time. Then he smiles. It's not the family he planned, but it's the family he has. The family he built from the ruins of beautiful lies. And it's enough, more than enough. It's real. And real, Thomas has learned, is always better than perfect. He turns off the lights, goes upstairs, checks on Grace. She's sleeping soundly, her stuffed animals arranged around her. He kisses her forehead, then he goes to his own room. And for the first time in years, he sleeps peacefully. No nightmares, no anxiety, no wondering what lies are being told in the dark. Just peace. The peace that comes from telling the truth, from protecting his children, from building something real from something broken. Outside, the May night is quiet, stars visible through his window. Tomorrow, Grace has her soccer banquet. Emma will apply to colleges. Sarah will bring her kids over for dinner. They'll all be together, this patchwork family of survivors and truth-tellers. But tonight, Thomas sleeps, and he dreams of the future. Not the future he planned, the future he's building. One truth at a time.